Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to White Rock United Methodist Church. I'm Phil Dickey. I'm one of the pastors on staff here. It's a great opportunity to gather with you once again here on a Sunday morning at the Sunday Sit Down. We do this every Sunday as an opportunity for us as a community to sit down and have a conversation, and we can't do this in person still. We wish we could. We mourn the fact that we can't. But we're grateful for the chance to sit here in this space and to have a conversation. We started the sit down with that idea. We wish that we were in person, and we wish when you came into the building we had the chance to greet you and to meet you and say hey and have a conversation, but we know we can't do that. And so that's our chance here. And so we invited people in to have this conversation with us, and you're going to see we have another one of our congregants here with us this morning. But we also invite you to join our conversation via the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Just let us know as things come up in our conversation. Ask questions. Sometimes I try to monitor that, and I can try to answer them the best of my ability, or we have other people who are monitoring as well, and they'll answer those questions you may have. So with that said, last week we had Kyle, and it was great to have Kyle with us. Next week we have a special gift and a special presentation that's going to happen on the Sunday Sit Down that we're really excited about. And this week we have Amy Allen. So Amy, thank you for joining us this morning.
I'm glad to be here.
So Amy, I would love to know just a little bit, I said, we have these conversations and I'm pretty new here still, right? I started in July and I'm still getting to know everybody. And I see you occasionally on various things. I know we've been in Pastor's Bible studies together and things like that, but we've never had a chance to really just have a conversation and a sit down. So I would love to know how it is that you got connected to White Rock and a little bit about the history of who you are.
Yeah. I have been at White Rock for about 4 years. We've lived in the area for 5 years, and I started looking around for a church. I have been a Methodist all my life, but I've never picked a Methodist church for just myself, which was really an amazing thing for me to get to do. I have 3 children and a husband, and they're all my children are all married. I am yaya to 3 granddaughters.
Will you explain to me what yaya means? Where does that come from?
Okay. Yaya is Greek, which I did not know at the time I became yaya. But it's so cool because you can find things that have yaya on them at Greek festivals and things. Anyway,
love that.
But I used to, when my children were little, I would always want them to pose for the camera because, of course, we didn't have phones and stuff. We had just cameras, and we had to develop them. And I would tell the kids, "Can I not hear me anymore?"
What is happening here?
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, good. Yay.
Okay. We'll keep going. Okay. So you said,
anyway,
you had them pose for the camera.
So they would pose for the camera, and I would say, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that's, so when I started having grandchildren, the kids, they decided, usually the grandmother, I think, gets to decide, but anyway, I'm yaya. So anyway, so when we moved to this area, we moved from Cedar Hill, and we came into town because the kids were grown and everything, and we just wanted to have fun. And, not that Cedar Hill is not fun, but anyway.
I did not feel that was an implication in what you were saying whatsoever.
So it was a chance for me to actually decide what I needed in a church rather than for my children and my husband, or, whatever. I just got to pick, and I looked around, and I came to visit at White Rock. I love the sanctuary. It's old-fashioned kind of, and kind of reminiscent of my childhood or something, I guess. I think that Rebecca is gifted and incredibly gifted. And I am not musical at all. Really, I'm tone deaf. I get it from my mom. It's true.
We're all musical, just some are better at their musical abilities.
I love to sing, and my mom used to sing like really loud, and it was kind of embarrassing. Anyway, but when the music that she chooses, and I know she does so much more than that. She does all the liturgy and all that, but the music where she picks, old hymns and new stuff and folk songs and all that, I just love that mixture. And listening to Mitchell's sermons, and not just to believe, but also to act on your beliefs, to be actively part of your religion, your faith. I that just hit me so much at home. And so then once I visited a few times and I knew that I liked the church services, I then started like going to some Sunday school classes, and I went, the Living with Questions Sunday school class was so wonderful. And then I volunteered, and this was the time when the White Rock had just gotten Owenwood, and we were cleaning it out, and all that. And I volunteered during that time, and I met so many wonderful people who were so committed to mission, and it won me. I mean, that was it. So I love
I love that. Like, yeah, thanks for sharing some of the ways you've gotten involved in the church too. I'd love to just hear what motivates people and like where they've really found home in this community here.
Mm-hmm.
It's really helpful for me to know that too. So we're in this series, this Earn, Save, Give series, right? A Wesleyan look at money and happiness, and we're in this series, Earn, Save, Give. Last week was Earn. This week is Save. I would love to know just what save means to you, and whether that's, obviously we're talking about money, but if save transcends the idea of money and there's something else that it sparks in you or gets you an idea of, well, I'd love to hear that too.
Thank you. I didn't grow up in a household that saved money. My father was very much a spend, 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 and anyway, that caused a lot of problems. But my husband grew up in a family where they saved constantly. They never spent money on anything. I mean, he claims, I do not know if it's true, that his father pulled their teeth and did all that stuff. I mean, he shaved their heads because whatever. And
Oh gosh.
I know. So this marriage is a very happy marriage, but it's taken 40 years to get there.
Sure.
But anyway, our idea of saving, we have not ever spent like as much as we could spend, which I know is
Sure.
normal for people, but for me, it's like mind blowing.
It's not all that normal, sadly, right? Like we wish it was more normal, but yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
We've always been comfortable, but we've always put away, so that now we are both retired, and we can, we are comfortable. We don't have to worry about that. And saving, it's so weird. The Bible verse that we are going to be reading from, I mean, the Bible verse that we used in Bible study the other day was, I mean, it was just so incredible. This idea of saving didn't seem as positive or something. Anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's complicated, right? Yeah.
very complicated, but saving to the point that we make we decide what we want to save back, but we also want to be generous with that. And I think that, like you said, the idea of saving in another way, saving and being saving the earth, and saving and making the
Sure.
world a better place. Anyway,
Yeah, it's
in
more
our
than,
family,
it can be more
that's
than.
what our family kind of motto or whatever. We do actually. Our children and I and us, we all talk together about what we can do, what charities are good for, that are saving the world and that are making the world a better place, and all of that. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of, anyway, that's what we believe in. So.
No, it's great. So, you talked about, 40 years to get where you are, right? I'm curious what, over the course of this 40 years, how has there been a balance between, saving for tomorrow, but also still living in the present, kind of this balance between your household, like you were talking about, and the household of maybe your husband, like what, have you had a hard time finding a balance there, or do you feel like you've landed in a place that has good balance now?
I think we are in a good place, and there are just times when it still like kind of comes up a little bit, but not much. But at the beginning, it was really pretty rough.
Sure.
The beginning of marriage.
Absolutely. I do.
But we did. It was a thing that I was glad he knew about, because it made me nervous when I was growing up, that we, day to day, we never knew, what we had and what we didn't have and all that. But my father was so generous. Messed up.
Just that's okay. I think we're having a little bit of internet issues here, but we're just going to keep running with it, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. So the fact that in my family and in Charlie's, they were very generous. I mean, he didn't say his father wasn't so much that he wouldn't be generous with other people or anything. And the idea that we have to give what we have is not really just our own. It's God's gift to us, and
Sure.
we work so hard, but it's because we are able to, um, and the feeling that we have to do what we can to make the world a better place, and it's really hard for me right now because like we can't go out. I mean, I can't. I'm one of those other people that can't go and be out with other people. And and so it makes it hard. I like to volunteer. I like to help out with different things. And so what we have purposely done in our family is that we have given more money because we can't give our time. And you know,
I love that, and I think that's where I think we found the same thing is where we're not able to go and serve and give in such a way like that, but we're not by any means real good savers, and I want to blame 3 children, but I wish I could blame it on the children. And if I had better practices from the beginning, we would have done a better job of saving from the very beginning, right? But
right.
but I found the same thing, that I feel so almost helpless, right? That I want to be able to go out and serve people, but instead I've found myself giving a lot more money to both the church and different charities that I'm a big supporter of and nonprofits, because I see them still active out there and doing things, right? And at the very beginning of this, I started sending everybody that I know who's in the nursing field cookies. I was like, I can't come see you or give you a hug and thank you for the work you're doing.
Right.
Here's cookies.
Yes.
Which is really my spiritual gift. Like, give me cookies anytime and you will be speaking my language. But like, that's all I knew to do,
Yeah.
And so I hear that. And I think that there's a really still a great blessing in the fact that you've saved enough to be able to say, like, we can, like you said, live comfortably, but then also pass along and be generous. And I wonder what that, does that word generosity stir anything in you?
Yeah. I mean, I always I just think that that's what we can do. I mean, if you are generous with anything, I mean, like with life, I
Yeah.
think one of the things that one of the other things that I've done during this time, COVID time, is I've made so many more phone calls than I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in high school when I was a teen,
Yeah.
because we just called. That's all we could do. So yeah, but I've purposely called people, which I never did. I mean, I would like text them and say, "Let's have lunch," and we would get together.
Yeah. Sure.
And I have purposely, and I have in years past, I mentored some teenage girls, and so there's like 15 or 20 of them I keep up with now, and still keep up with, and they're in
That's
their
awesome.
20s and 30s, and anyway, and so we just talk, and it's so great to just get to
I
talk,
love that.
and I still feel like I'm a part of their lives, and they are a part of my lives, and
Yeah.
God brought us together, and so anyway,
I love that.
yeah.
Well, we're coming up on our time here. I would love to know if there's just any one thing, two thing, a couple things coming up in the life of the church that you're just really excited about.
Um, I just, wish I could be there. So-
Me too, Amy. Me
But
too.
I do love going to Bible study and being able to worship online and book club whenever I can get there and things like that. I mean, I just think it's really great that we've been able to be a part of this, even though we're not there. It's really been great, and I really want to keep being a part of all these things. I just come into this room and I can be in church. So.
I love it. I
Mhm.
love it. Well, thank you for your time. We mentioned a few things here: Bible study, book club, various things like that. You can find all those events coming up at wrumc.org/events. So we would love for you to come join us as well. Amy and I will be there, and we'd love for you to come join us and be a part of this conversation that we continue to have. So, Amy, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for being a part of this community, part of this church, and such a staple of our community. We're grateful to have you.
I'm glad to be here very much.